It's official. It's finally happened. Even though the mainstream media is still saying that she's pushing the potential impeachment inquiry, or there is an impeachment inquiry being pushed against the Secret Service director. Secret Service director has officially resigned. It's over. She's gone. Why? Let me give you a breakdown, because I spent like 4 freaking hours yesterday watching the testimony, going through it, listening to everything on the Trump shooter. Here's everything that I learned, which was not much, from the Secret Service. Okay, you ready for this? Let's go through this. First, we're gonna speed run this, because I mean, she's resigned now, but that doesn't mean we can't still benefit off of some of her information, right? So she testified before Congress because obviously the shooting was the biggest failure that the Secret Service has like ever seen, and they admit as much. Like they recognize that they done effed up, like they big time screwed up, and they realize that, which is good, because I mean, like, how could you not realize it? It was so disgusting. So anyway, what did we actually find out? Okay, most significant operational failure. Nothing we say should place blame on local law enforcement. No agent was on the roof because it was outside the perimeter. Now, why was it outside the perimeter? They argue that that roof was observed, but that they had sniper coverage of it. And because they had sniper coverage of it, they didn't need to be on the roof. That was the argument. They say there were a sufficient number of agents assigned, but what's interesting is Jill Biden had 12 extra Pittsburgh agents assigned to her 400-person ballroom event, and Trump got 3 extra Secret Service people assigned for his event, which was outside, substantially more risky, and had thousands of attendees. So a lot of people are like, I don't know, man, this seems like it was an inside job. Now, there are also, and this could be massive speculation, but there's a lot of speculation right now that the shooter, again, this is like very conspiratorial, I just want to be clear about that, but it's something I'm watching. There is a conspiracy right now that the shooter's phone and location pings were noticed consistently, at least on some occasions, visiting the same approximate location as certain FBI field offices. And so there's this speculation circulating that this was an inside job and that the shooter was involved. You could see this right here. I'll pull this up right here. These are just tweets. They have proposed community notes on them, but there were some companies that were putting out cell tracking data. I want you to understand quickly how they do this. The actual project that does this is the Oversight Project. So assassination drop information. We found the assassin's connections through our in-depth analysis of mobile ad data. So you can basically get dots and see where people's phones are. And even though it doesn't tell you who is who, if you know where somebody was throughout multiple different occasions, you could assume that dot is them. And then you can trace them and track them around wherever they go. And they say someone who regularly visited Crook's home and work also visited a building in Washington, D.C. located in Gallery Place in the same vicinity of an FBI office. And they go, whose device was this? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's Oversight Project. It's probably all BS, but we'll mention it. Anyway, Secret Service lady, super evasive, by the way. She didn't come prepared with answers. You know, it's been, 10 days since the shooting, 9 days after the shooting, she testified. And she really blew off a lot on the FBI. Anyway, she says the shooter was known to be suspicious, but not a threat. If there's a threat, we remove the president. Obviously, she was railed on this because people were like, how could he not be a threat? I mean, listen to this time frame. July 3rd, the rally was announced. The shooter searched for Trump events on July 6th. On July 7th, the shooter went to the site. 4 days before the announcement, he scouted out the site. So he premeditated this for days. July 12th, he went to a gun range with his dad, where they had regularly gone, practice shooting apparently. The shooter went to the site again before the rally, then left to buy 50 rounds of ammo, come back to the site. At 5:10 p.m. on July 13th, they noticed him using a rangefinder. Then they took a picture of a bicycle and 2 bags left by that building, and they noticed him at 5:30, and they ID'd him as a suspicious person. Then at 5:30 again, they took a picture of him. They radioed, they took a picture of him at that point as well, so then they had a picture of the bicycle and 2 bags, took a picture of him. They radioed their concerns by 5:40. Secret Service was notified by 5:51, which was 12 minutes before Trump took the stage. The Secret Service distributed the information at 5:52, which is 11 minutes before Trump took the stage. 8 minutes before Trump took the stage, they confirmed receipt that the photos had been received and relayed. Trump took the stage at 6:03. At 6:05, the suspect was noticed with a backpack going towards the building. At 6:09, basically rally goers see the shooter with a gun on the roof, and people are shouting, "He has a gun." On July 13th, at 6:11, is when the shooting starts. So plenty of time there. Plenty of time for somebody to actually approach the shooter and maybe prevent all of this nightmare from happening. We were centimeters from civil war, as some of the representatives in Congress suggested. And I agree with that. I think we were, probably less than a centimeter from civil war. It's pretty bad. Anyway, she argues nobody intervened. She doesn't want to point the finger at local law enforcement, though a lot of people are like, oh, the Secret Service is blaming local law enforcement because they were in charge of that roof. And apparently, Biden's speech on withdrawing the race is set for tomorrow. Oh, okay. Anyway, a lot of people are like, no, the Secret Service shouldn't be blaming local law enforcement. It's the Secret Service's fault. But there's also talk that apparently radio comms were siloed. Now, this is important to understand. Radio comms, which were not recorded for this event, are usually recorded for situations like this. So you could go back and look at transcripts and see what happened. Apparently, the radio communications for the Secret Service were not recorded on this event, and the radio comms were potentially siloed from the other local law enforcement officials, which means rather than them all having coordinated and gotten onto like a specific tactical channel, they were all on their own. So you probably had local law enforcement on, let's say, I'm just going to make this up, okay, Channel Bravo, because you're not on the main channel where you have your mainstream traffic for the whole city. So let's say you put them on Bravo, Secret Service was maybe on Charlie, and I don't know, your mom was on Delta, okay? So your mom's like, yo, shooter. Nobody's listening. Like, that's what happens when you have a siloed radio communication. And so then you have people like texting like, yo, man, we think we saw a shooter. Like, can you get on Channel Bravo? Yeah, I'm on Bravo. What's up, bro? What'd you say? Can't hear you. That's quite frankly like roughly what it seems like. It's not a surprise the Secret Service director is resigning now. She got so much pressure. Anyway, they ID'd the gunman off of the serial number on the AR-15, not off of any ID yet because he didn't have an AR, or it didn't have any ID. Apparently, he was also found to be searching, other shooters on his search history before this happened. And in his searches, he was also looking at the Michigan high school shooter's parents who went to jail for allowing the kid to get access to the firearms. So some people are trying to suggest that he knew he was going to get busted or die, and he didn't want his parents to get in trouble. It's interesting. I don't know. Anyway, this right here apparently is the window covering that rooftop. And this rooftop, Colin Rugg posted this. This rooftop, or this window, has perfect view of that rooftop here. That's where the ladder was there on the left. And they could have easily been in that room watching what was going on, but apparently nobody was, because law enforcement was deemed to be inside of that building, the glass building. Anyway, so have there been previous denials of Secret Service protection? Yes. Were there at this event? Supposedly not. She argues that denial does not mean a vulnerability. But yes, there have been denials for additional requests. And some people are like, maybe the Trump organization was fatigued at asking because they keep getting denied. Who knows? She says that using a rangefinder would make somebody suspicious but not threatening. There was a really big difference that she was trying to create between being suspicious and being a threat. And apparently just being suspicious is not enough to pull the president off the stage. It's only when they're deemed to be deemed to be a threat. And so the reps are like, okay, so a gunman lying down on a rooftop pointing at the president is not a threat. She argues, well, as soon as we knew he was a threat, we shot him. But they apparently didn't know he was a threat until after he started shooting, even though people were in the crowd yelling that the guy had a gun. Whatever. Somehow all of the crowd knew he was a threat. It's freaking ridiculous. Anyway, some representatives were pissed off that Donald Trump was left at the podium wounded for over a minute before they moved him. And this is in the face of somebody having multiple magazines to go. In fairness, the Secret Service said shoot her down, and that's why they kind of stayed in that position there for a moment and then moved. But there could have been a second shooter, right? Usually, what we always used to say in law enforcement, it was the following. When there's one, there's two. It's not the best grammar because it's technically when there's one, there are two, but it doesn't flow that well. So when there's one, there's two. That was always the argument, and that was really for building clearing, right? You go in with a handgun, you pie in your corners, you check in the corners, you know, one go left, one go right, one go center, whatever, just clearing. And it was always the argument, when there's one, there's two. And the idea is that there's going to be a second. Be prepared. Don't give up. Don't put your gun away, so to speak, when you get the first shooter down, because there's going to be another one. And it was always, the idea was that it's always better to be prepared to assume that there's a second than to assume there's not a second. And here I think the assumption was there's not a second. A little early to come to that conclusion. But anyway, a lot of the Secret Service director here was deflecting to the FBI. Oh, the FBI is collecting bullets. The FBI has the casings. The FBI has all the information. She says that DEI doesn't affect her hiring, that she only hires the best qualified candidates. She also argues that the Secret Service did not give any order to hold a fire. Instead, Secret Service agents are trained to neutralize threats when they see them on their own accord, that they don't have to ask for permission to neutralize threats. That was because a lot of folks were wondering, did the sniper have the guy in his sights for a while, and then was he getting denied permission to shoot? Anyway, that's their argument, that no, there's no denial. She says we have 8,000 employees, we're trying to get to 9,500, and there are staffing shortages. I don't know, the Secret Service lost a lot of credibility here. I always thought the Secret Service was like impenetrable, but what I saw was like pathetic. Really sad, honestly. Like, I'd be embarrassed to be working for the Secret Service after that. And I don't blame the people who feel embarrassed. I blame like what happened there, you know. Anyway, 2 minutes before the shots, somebody was screaming that there was a man with a gun, which was also, by the way, crazy. She has not visited the site. The Secret Service director did not actually visit the site. And so one of the reps is like, so you mean to tell me the shooter visited the site 3 times more than you did? Anyway, the agency was alerted 2 to 5 times of a suspicious person. She didn't have a lot of answers after 9 days. Will you withdraw? No. One of the reps is like, you're full of shit today. I thought that was pretty entertaining. She got yelled at for, moving out of decorum. I thought it was amazing and awesome. Anyway, he was searching for mass shooters beforehand on his cell phone. He had explosives. He'd been planning this for multiple days. Rep says you should go back to guarding Doritos. I thought that was pretty funny. The roof your snipers were on was steeper than the shooter's roof. Why was nobody over there? Nobody was on that roof because it was considered an overwatch position. So in other words, they were covering it with the snipers. Well, apparently not, because you had the trees in the way, right? You had the trees here, shooter here, and the counter snipers were sort of blocked by some of the trees. She argues the allocation of staff was comparable to the risk. Apparently not. They didn't record the radio communications. Why were the people different at the RNC covering Trump, taller and more men than at the rally? She says, well, it's shift work. You get different people on different shifts. Okay. This lady was something else. Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, how does the audience know that there's a threat and the Secret Service doesn't? And we're waiting for you to resign. Yeah. Biggest hearing of your life, says McClain, and you can't remember. You've been in communications with the FBI, yet you refuse to answer. You're choosing not to answer. Did you apologize to Trump, says Boebert? Yes. Have you communicated with the White House using Signal, an encrypted, message disappearing app? Big pause, and then, no, I have not. It's just denial does not mean vulnerability. Water tower was not in our perimeter. Did anybody ever contact or talk to the shooter? No, not to my knowledge. Yeah. Okay. As soon as a threat was identified as a threat, they were neutralized. Yeah, well, that was only after they began shooting. He's a complete cluster F. Like, I'm trying to save you 4 hours here by giving you like a 15-minute summary of what the hell happened in the latest on the shooter. It's really bad. Like, that testimony was disgusting. She looked unprepared, and she was doing the whole, like, I'm gonna do my best to be hard and follow the cop method. I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't have the answers. Why would you go to the freaking hearing with those, like, at least bring some freaking facts and try to help America get some answers? It was a pretty disgusting hearing. I kind of want a refund on my 4 hours, but the good news for you is you don't have to listen to all those 4 hours. You got the summary here. You got the latest speculation and the latest rumors. And if you'd like some more information on perspectives for building your wealth, make sure to join me over at meetkevin.com. We've got a coupon code expiring this Friday. That just means the prices are going to go up. So when we retire a coupon, the price goes up. And if you want to lock in the best price match guaranteed, you could always email us with questions at staff@meetkevin.com. But check out those programs on building your wealth over at meetkevin.com. We also have a mastermind at meetkevin.com/mastermind. That's a higher end sort of in-person thing. It's a high ticket thing. For most people, I generally argue, check out the course member live streams. Check out the courses on building your wealth. It's a fantastic set of financial content on real estate, property management, stocks, building your wealth over the long term. We also have short-term trade ideas or alerts that we send. Obviously, can't guarantee everybody's going to make money, and I hope to see you there. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and good luck.
These things that you told us here, I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.
Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is not personalized advice for you. It is not tax, legal, or otherwise personalized advice tailored to you. This video provides generalized perspective, information, and commentary. Any third-party content I show shall not be deemed endorsed by me. This video is not and shall never be deemed reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security or investment decision. Any links or promoted products are either paid affiliations or products or services we may benefit from. I also personally operate an actively managed ETF. I may personally hold or otherwise hold long or short positions in various securities, potentially including those mentioned in this video. However, I have no relationship to any issuer other than HouseHack, nor am I presently acting as a market maker. Make sure if you're considering investing in HouseHack to always read the PPM at househack.com.